My name is Atlee Breland, and I'm a wife. I'm from Jackson, Mississippi. I'm a wife. I'm a computer programmer, and I'm a person of faith. And thanks to infertility treatment, I'm the mother of 3 beautiful children. And I almost didn't get to call myself that. When I was 28 years old, my husband and I were diagnosed with infertility. And it was so hard. Infertility treatment is so tough physically and emotionally and financially, but we were lucky. We got to bring home our twin daughters, Claire and Catherine, and then 2 years later, our little boy Andrew came along. Happy ending, right? But the thing is, I might have my family now, but infertility changes you. You'll always be a person who has experienced that terrible fear that you'll never get to become a parent. And the scars fade with time, but they're still there. And once you've been through infertility, you never forget. So when I first heard about Personhood back in 2010, I understood how it could have really huge implications for infertility treatment, and it scared me. In fact, those implications were so scary that I really didn't even take it seriously at first. Surely people wouldn't really vote for something that would shut down IVF clinics. And then Personhood came to Mississippi in the form of Initiative 26, and everything changed. In the wake of the campaign over 26, it's now very, very clear that Personhood would have drastic, frightening effects on infertility treatment, on access to birth control, on life-saving pregnancy care. The restrictions that Personhood advocates want to put on IVF will shut down infertility physicians, even if the legislation doesn't come straight out and say it. Doctors can't practice when they are criminally liable for lab accidents. They can't treat patients safely and effectively under freezing and fertilization limits. And doctors can't bear to stand by and let women die from pregnancy complications when those women could have been saved. I know it sounds like a lot to believe, and I want to read you a couple quotes from some prominent Personhood advocates backing this up. Does the birth control pill cause abortions? In a word, yes. That's Christy Burton Brown of Personhood, Colorado. She was the sponsor of the 28 Amendment, and she wrote the 2012 amendment that might appear on your ballot. Abortion would not have been allowed for women with cancer. That's Jennifer Mason, who is the communications director of Personhood USA. If the amendment passes, the practice of freezing embryos will end. IVF labs will limit the number of eggs to the number they are willing to transfer in a single cycle. Every embryo is entitled to transfer in a uterus. That's the Yes on 26 campaign's official medical talking points. In the event of a power failure in an IVF lab, doctors would have been criminally liable for thousands of embryonic deaths. That's Dr. Eric Webb, an OBGYN and the medical spokesman for Yes on 26 in Mississippi. If, in trying to save both the mother's and the fetus's life, one of them unfortunately dies, at least they tried to save both. That's Ben Dupree of Personhood, Alabama, talking about the Personhood legislation right here next year. It's already been pre-filed in your legislature. It's filed as SB 5. That's what's coming to you. That's what you're facing. And that's what the supporters of Personhood have to say about it. That's what they believe Personhood ought to do. If you have any doubt that they want to stop these great doctors from practicing, or let women die from pregnancy complications, or take away your access to reliable birth control, well, they're pretty solidly on the record. You might hear that the Alabama bill, SB 5, won't affect birth control or IVF because its wording says that personhood begins at implantation. Don't buy it. Personhood Alabama has already stated that they consider this to be a fatal flaw, and that they'll be lobbying to change it back to fertilization. And that's the thing about legislation. What one vote can amend, another one can undo. And once you grant full legal rights to embryos, once you put that into the law, the rest of it is just amendments. It's judicial interpretation. It's pressure from lobbying groups like Personhood USA, who really, really do want to take away your right to effective and safe medical care. And if Personhood passes, the legislature or the courts can do that at any time. If you want to protect your family building options and your right to effective birth control and medical treatment for the health conditions many of us have, and your right to save your own life if you suffer a pregnancy complication, we have to stop Personhood here and now. There is no compromise. When I first heard about Initiative 26, I thought it was going to pass by a huge margin. And I thought Parents Against MS-26, the website I wrote and the group that I founded, I thought it was a doom day. And I just wanted to sleep well at night, knowing that I had done what I could to keep infertility treatment an option for patients like me. But after I published the initial version of our website, I started to get in touch with some people who were just as concerned. And my doctor put me in touch with Resolve, who was a key advocate of ours, and with other Mississippi parents who were concerned. And it snowballed from there. Sometimes, when you stand up and you say no, your voice carries a lot farther than you thought it would. And when all the votes were counted up, we found that we had done it. Mississippi voted down personhood by 58 to 42, which was a shocking upset for a measure which had been expected to pass, 60-40. We didn't win because Mississippi is a state full of pro-choice liberals. In fact, most of the people who voted against 26 considered themselves self-identified as pro-life. You can be pro-life and still think that personhood goes too far. In fact, many large national pro-life organizations oppose personhood. Even the Catholic Church thought that personhood was the wrong strategy. But we won because we stood up and we came out as infertility patients, as ectopic pregnancy survivors, as parents of lost children. And we won because of the voices of ordinary people who talked about it on their websites, who talked about it to the media, like Jessica here did last week. People bravely stood up and told their friends, hey, this is me you're talking about. This isn't politics, this is me, this is my family. And by election day, I don't think any of my friends on Facebook were talking about anything else. In a very real sense, this was the election that Facebook won. Our group had thousands of members by the end of it, and our website had over 80,000 page views, 60% of which came from Facebook. And we stood up, and we spoke our truths, and we told people how this would affect us, and it made a difference. And if we can do that, if we could stop it in Mississippi, you can stop it here too. Our doctors fought it as hard as they could for their patients' sake, and the public listens to doctors. And the support of physicians like we have here is key. And I hope you'll all encourage your own doctors to organize and to speak out against personhood. Not just your infertility physician, but your family physicians, your OB/GYNs, every doctor you talk to. People listen to doctors. Doctors are a key ally. And I hope you'll talk about it on Facebook, and I hope you'll tell your family and friends why they should oppose personhood too. It's so hard to go public about infertility. Our disease that we have is such a hidden and personal thing, but people need to understand how many people are affected by infertility. Resolve has their 1 in 8 is someone you know campaign. That's the truth. It's as common as breast cancer. We're everywhere. When you start talking about it, you find that so many people have histories, so many people have stories, and this would affect so many people. But people won't understand and won't know it if we don't talk about it, if we don't help them. And this week, we launched our 2011 holiday card campaign at Parents Against Personhood, and I want to encourage all of you to participate. What we're asking people to do is take your holiday greeting card, whether you're sending one with a photo on it or just a pre-printed one, take your greeting card and write on it a note, just a little note. Our family was built through IVF. We went through infertility treatment. We're praying for a baby in 2012. And say, please vote no on personhood. Our family thinks personhood goes too far. Send it to your state senators, your representatives, your governor. Tell them that we're real families and that personhood would have real effects on people like you and me and everybody here today. Let them see our faces and ask your family and friends to do the same. And you can find more information on our website, which is parentsagainstpersonhood.com. And I hope you'll all come and visit and read about personhood and read about the effects, the unintended consequences for infertility treatment and birth control and women's health care. So come and visit us and join us on Facebook and let me know you're out there. Find Resolve. Resolve on their website has infertility action alerts. And what Resolve was able to do in Georgia, when Georgia faced this in 2009, was huge. Resolve's website drove over 100,000 emails and faxes to the Georgia legislature. And when you melt their faxes, they listened. The Georgia legislature listened, and they protected infertility treatment as an option for patients. And that's what we've got to do here in Alabama. We've got to reach out, and we've got to talk to people. You might think you're just one person, what can you do? But that email that you send, that greeting card that you send in the mail, everything, it makes a difference. And that's how we do it. That's how we did it in Mississippi. That's how you can do it here too. So come and join us on Facebook and let me know you're out there, and let's all work together with Resolve and with our doctors to defeat personhood this year and in the future. Thank you.
once again,